Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to be taking a look at some pitching for today, the 20th of September. It is Saturday. We do have just a three game day slate and 11 game main slate this evening. We have some games with some potential weather. Nothing to be too worried about from my understanding. Slight chances in Colorado, Minnesota, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and Minnesota again for game one of the doubleheader. I'm not sure which games of the doubleheader are on the slate yet. This is a legitimate first look at the pitching options. A reminder that, again, like I said, it is a first look, and I will be looking at DraftKings, as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now with all that fun stuff said and done, let's take a look here at some of these matchups. First, the three-gamer. Looking at this Cleveland-Minnesota game, some places have Slade Ciccone starting game one with Logan Allen game two. Right now, DraftKings lists Logan Allen as the game one starter. You're going to want to pay attention to that. That's going to make a huge difference in how we attack it. Difference in what Minnesota lineup looks like probably. But Joe Ryan on the other side is definitely in play. Hasn't looked good the last two starts, but it is what it is. Couple appearances versus Cleveland on the season. 14 and then what I would assume is 10 fantasy points. Not the greatest. Cleveland is definitely warming up offensively. But from a fantasy standpoint, Joe Ryan's pretty solid at home. So he's somebody I want to mix in for sure. You can use whoever the pitcher is for Cleveland. Just make sure you get a verified lineup to show up. I think both guys are in play, to be honest. Because it's three-gamer, I don't really like Logan Allen that much. But given that it's three-gamer, I think he's in play. Especially because we have Montero, and I'm not all that interested in Montero. He is coming off of an elite performance against Miami. I don't see him backing that up again today. He's been pretty bad at home. I am going to be on the Atlanta Braves bats quite a bit. On the other side of that one, Joey Wentz, I think he's in play. Just because there's strikeout upside against Detroit, being a lefty. Colt Keith went on the IL, but he wouldn't have been in the lineup. Kerry Carpenter, Riley Yane might not be in the lineup as well. It does weaken the overall lineup for Detroit. And given the slate, why not some Joey Wentz? Last two pitchers, Noah McLean, going to be the best pitcher on the slate, which, he's a rookie who's made 6 starts. But 2 earned runs or less in all 6 starts. He's gone 8 innings at once. He's gotten 8 strikeouts, 7 strikeouts, and 3 out of 6 as well. Just a ton of upside. McLean's definitely the guy that everybody's going to be jamming in. On the other side, Cade Cavalli shows some upside. Falls apart a little bit. Strikeouts haven't been there the last 2 starts. A lot of walks. There's going to be some ups and downs in his return from Tommy John. It was a lengthy one. But he's somebody I want to sprinkle in. But the Mets are probably going to be my second favorite offense on that slate. Now jumping over to the main slate of games. First game, the Yankees and Orioles. Shigano, not really going to be somebody I'm utilizing. He did have that one great start against the Yankees, so his K numbers are kind of skewed against them. I just don't think that's happening. He's allowing a ton of base runners to the Yankees, so I would much rather just use Yankee bats. Carlos Rodon, talked about it last time. His K numbers just haven't been there. His overall effectiveness as an SP has been fine, but some walks. His walks have come down, which is a nice trend, but the strikeouts really aren't there, and we need those strikeouts because he's not as erratic and I don't know. He doesn't allow as many base runners as like a Blake Snell, Jesus Luzardo, Dylan Cease, Tyler Glasnow type deal when they're not on. But we do need those strikeouts to help us out. Baltimore is a plus matchup, especially for, because he's left-handed. He did dominate them earlier, but obviously that was earlier. I think he's in play, but it's not a play I want to fall in love with. I'll put it that way. He just hasn't been showing any upside, and that's my worry in this spot, even though it is a plus matchup. Miami, Texas, Jack Leiter, a couple of not-so-great starts in a row. Strikeouts have been down, but pitch count's there, so they're allowing him to go. He has been at his best when at home. Miami's a blah matchup. Like, they just don't strike out a ton. I think that Leiter's probably going to end up in my player pool, but I can give or take in that. He's not somebody that I'm just fist pumping to jam into my lineups. Adam Mazur, coming off a pretty solid performance against Detroit. Still only got to 19.7. Should have probably got the W. An error cost him in there. Just not a big K guy. His walk to K rate, or K to walk rate, not very strong. Probably not worth it on either site. Definitely not on DraftKings. Boston, Tampa Bay. Kyle Harrison making his first start with Boston, I think. I feel like this was in relief, but I may be wrong there as well. Man, really testing my theory on left-handers versus Tampa Bay. Gary Crochet didn't look overly sharp. He straightened things out, as the night went on. But I think I want to play the wait-and-see game with Harrison. He made it. Yeah, he made his bullpen debut out of the bullpen. He hasn't pitched 5 innings since August 19th. So we might only see, 4 innings out of him today, which kind of takes him out of play for me. Adrian Hauser, some decent starts with Tampa Bay. I just don't really want to use him in this ballpark. His home road splits are kind of skewed because he's been in multiple places this season. So it's tough to get a gauge on it, but I prefer to not use, the pitchers in that matchup. San Diego and the White Sox. Yoendrys Gomez is a guy that we've used at times. I'm just not going to use him against San Diego. I just don't think there's enough K upside, and he's definitely only going 5 innings. I feel like his last start he was at 70-something. Yeah, 77 pitches through 5 and was performing quite solidly. Had one rough, second or third inning, giving up 2 runs, but was kind of cruising, and they still went to the bullpen after 5. So I just don't think there's enough upside. Yu Darvish on the other side, there is enough upside, but he has not been good on the road. I think he's just a sprinkle. He's not somebody I want to be too invested in when all's said and done. Seattle, Houston, another strong pitcher matchup in this series. Framber Valdez has had some real stinkers recently. He's also had a really strong performance against Colorado. He's volatile for sure. 2 starts against Seattle this season. 21 fantasy points and 27. Obviously, those starts came a long time ago. He is pitching at home, where he has been far better than he has been on the road. I am going to sprinkle him in. I obviously just don't want to be too heavy on him because of his volatility, especially in the second half. George Kirby, coming off of a ridiculous 14 strikeout performance against the Angels, who just strike out against everybody. He also struck out 14 against them the one time this season. He's also had starts recently with 1 strikeout and 2 and 3. So his range of outcomes is extremely wide. He struggled mightily with Houston the first time he faced them. He struggled pretty much on the road all season. I don't know what to do with Kirby. I'm going to dig in a little bit more because I almost want to fade him. It just might not be a strong matchup for him. And if that's the case, I have no problem fading him when it comes to it. Game 2 of the Cleveland-Minnesota series, or doubleheader today. Ciccone, like I mentioned, it could be Ciccone, it could be Logan Allen. I think whichever game Ciccone pitches in, he's definitely in play, and Logan Allen is probably a sprinkle. Bailey Ober on the other side, back-to-back 20-plus fantasy point performances. Has not been very strong against Cleveland. A lot of base runners, not many strikeouts. I'm going to pass on Bailey Ober. Toronto, Kansas City. Neither team really strikes out all that much. Noah Cameron, 2 strong starts in a row. 100 pitches-ish. But he did struggle with Toronto the one time he faced them. I'm probably going to have to pass on Noah Cameron. I like his recent performances. I just don't like the matchup. Shane Bieber has pitched against Kansas City a lot in his career, being from Cleveland previously. Coming off of a pretty solid start. I think he's fine. He's just not great. Just because Kansas City doesn't strike out all that much. But I do kind of like the idea of going back to a pitcher who's facing a team that just put up 20 runs the day before. I think it's kind of a good time to take a gamble. Just because I do think some Kansas City bats will be overvalued for people. So it's a decent way to get a little bit of leverage. So maybe I sprinkle in Shane Bieber at 10 to 15%. And just hope for some offensive regression from Kansas City. Milwaukee, St. Louis, I'm not no Miles Mikolas. That's pretty much what comes out of my mouth all the time when he shows up on a slate. Chet Patrick, probably more of a bullpen game for Milwaukee. I just can't get there at this point. Philadelphia, Arizona, Aaron Nola, and Zach Gallen. Nola, all over the place. Does flash some of his old self, and then he struggles mightily. He did dominate Arizona earlier this season, so the upside is definitely there. But he's super volatile. I want to use him just because, 2 starts ago, he absolutely dominated the Mets, showing us that, he's still in there somewhere. Zach Gallen, 22-plus fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 starts. Home runs still can be an issue. He's pitching at home where traditionally he's been at his best. I think he's worth a sprinkle, but I do like the Philly bats a decent amount. Coors pitching, Hendricks versus Marquez, no thanks. Neither guy has any kind of ceiling at all, even though their opposition strike out a ton. I'm just going to pass on those guys. Last game of the night, Giants and Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow, mentioned him earlier when talking about Carlos Rodon. Ton of upside. Legit upside. Was strong against San Francisco the last time he faced them, even though his K numbers came down and walk rate went up. But he's just all over the place in walks. I still think the ballpark's going to be pretty electric yet after Kershaw's final home start last night. Maybe there's a little bit of a hangover, but I'm not sure. He's just been so good at home. There's so much upside that I'm going to have to go with him. Plus, I think San Francisco recently has been pretty weak offensively. On the other side, Kai Tang. He's got some weird strikeout upside. They come early, but he's just not very good overall, I don't believe. So I just don't think I can get away with using him against the Dodgers. He just allows a ton of base runners, and that's not really good on an efficiency site like DraftKings. But there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And I will put a link to our merch store. You can check out my hoodie, some of the other offerings that we do have on the site, some of the different designs, t-shirts, etc. Let me know what you think if you do order something. And as always, best of luck, everybody.